So, Kyle and Ryan, let me get this straight. At the beginning of winter break, you went to church camp for several days. And then immediately after, you went to California to see your old youth minister. And then immediately after that, you also went to Tennessee Christian Teen Convention, whatever that is, whatever TCTC stands for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we decided to bundle them all up together.
It's a packed January.
Well, I'm guessing you're pretty fired up for the Lord then, okay, boys? Is that true?
I don't know about that.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, it was a joke. I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty on fire for the Lord.
Well,
Prove it.
We just need to turn that fire into discipline.
Yeah. If you have fire without discipline, it's just like you burn the house down. Kind of like LA right now. I'm sorry, that was not okay. I shouldn't. A lot of people.
That was okay. Let's restart the podcast.
That is not Christian of you to say.
Well, anyways, welcome to the Chortles podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Christian conventions and will they make or break you?
Will they break you? Is that on the table?
I don't know. We'll have to find out. You have to watch the whole thing to find out.
That's not in the notion. I don't think it'll break you unless they will.
That's the fastest intro we've ever done.
Yeah, that was a fast intro.
That was a good intro, though.
Emotionally breaking.
Emotionally? How so? Why do you guys think it might not be the best thing? I'm interested to hear.
Oh, I'm in it from not like a sad, I mean, you can be sad, but in a good way sad, like, oh, I need to look at my life and go to Christ type thing. Not a, yes.
It could break you in that way. I see that.
Sorry, my bad.
I think some people think of it as kind of a mega church stereotype, Christian conferences. People make it more about the boom in music and boom in
mega
performance rather than the boom in Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
That was such a youth pastor thing to say.
I will be a youth pastor one day. Mark my words.
No, he's right, though. It feels bad to start with the negative like so quickly, but that is something I see a lot. And, you know, us and Catholics obviously disagree on several things, although we still should coexist and all love Christ. Obviously, we love you Catholic brothers and sisters out there.
Love Catholics. I love everyone.
That's good, Kyle. That's good. But the thing I saw from a Catholic is they were just watching a clip of Passion, I think, and they just saw the fog machines and just they're like, what is going on? Is this what Jesus died for? And I'm like, yes. Yes, it's not inherently bad. But to look at Passion from that outside standpoint and be like, what is going on? This is like Sadie Robertson Huff threw up in here. And it's just, I don't know how I feel about that.
So you think fog machine equates to a cult?
No. Although, listen, man, all I know is the Christian church and the Church of Christ split about 100 years ago, and it was over music. It was over instruments. And, you know, back in the day, it was like one piano that they split over, which seems silly, but the Church of Christ said, you know, we don't want it to be a show. This is going to turn into a show. And back then, I feel like that would have sounded crazy with one piano. But then you look 100 years later, and you see fog machines and somebody skydiving off of the catwalk of Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And you think, you know what, maybe that guy was right about this eventually becoming a show.
I'm not saying that all that's really good because I feel like sometimes it could 100% get carried away. But also from the more traditional side, whenever I see someone go, I just can't get into it sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what if they're in it? What if it's just different cultures, you know?
Exactly. I think it's a preference. If someone has a fog machine, but you're really there to support Jesus Christ, and so are they just have a little fog machine, I think it's fine as long as the church is heading in the right direction.
Probably not. And you know what? That's one thing at Passion. I just don't love it when it's like at a church, a specific church, and like somebody's tithe money literally, like when you think about it, someone's tithe money paid for the fog machine. I'm like, you know, maybe.
Can a fog machine portray the wrong image? Yes. Should it discount someone's faith? No.
Nah.
Anyway, what is Passion? Do you guys know? Have any of you been?
I've never been to Passion.
I have never been.
I know people who have been, and they have said good things about it, but no.
Ryan, do you have any details on Passion?
Yeah, I actually asked one of my friends that has been there. Her name is Mavis Joe on YouTube. She actually has a channel. Shout out. So she's been. and she described it. If you know about TCTC, it's the convention we went to. She said it's TCTC on steroids, and how that was formed. It started as a band for young adults from age 18 to 25, and it started in Atlanta. They have one in Texas too now. I believe they're two separate events. There's one in Texas, yeah, and then Sadie Robinson always shows up. There's worship services and there's new speakers every night. Yeah, just I don't know how many people they usually get, but it's a huge turnout every year.
They sell that place out. I mean, it's pretty much sold out from videos and stuff like that I've seen. It's pretty cool.
And that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Passion is pretty cool. I don't know if it's in the realm of what I would go to personally. I don't like crowds that big completely. I think it's awesome that it's like it exists and is for Jesus, but not my thing. I would get stressed out very easily. TCTC was a lot smaller. Tennessee Christian Teen Convention.
I'd love to go to Passion one day.
It sounds cool, but from where I'm at, it sounds like a lot of work.
I would also love to go to Passion. It looks very, very cool to go to. Do they have the same singers every year? I feel like they do.
I think it's one band, because it was a band that started first. Yeah, I'm sure the big names always show up.
Because I see Crowder there every year. I feel like I see Crowder there every year. I don't know about rappers. Like, I'm pretty sure KB's been there a couple times. Or
I might be wrong. I think when Kanye was on his Christian arc, I think he might have went to one.
We gotta stop bringing up the Kanye Christian arc. We keep sprinkling that in. We just gotta cover that in an episode and get that behind us.
Anyway, what's TCTC? Because we said Passion is TCTC on steroids, but we don't have a base for what that means.
TCTC, a lot of churches come around from neighboring states or maybe a few states over, go to Tennessee. They rent cabins majorly. It's like syllabus.
did you say syllabus?
Now he's talking about celibacy. He's talking about what you said. Kyle, would you like to continue and say the correct words this time?
Just try to not mispronounce them.
And if you do, it'll be bad.
Yes, I'll say this perfect this time. Most churches rent cabins. Most churches rent cabins that come from neighboring states, again, as I said, or a few states over. And majority of them, the cabins sell out pretty quick. There's usually a rapper, some really good known artists there, which is always really good. It's always fun. It's mainly directed towards like teens in high school or maybe just coming out of middle school, going into high school. That's who it's mainly directed at.
Sounds pretty cool. Actually, I went. It was really cool.
I've been 4 times. It was pretty cool every time.
I've been once.
Peyton, you've been more than any of us. Would you like to talk on any of your experiences?
That is true. Over the years, it became one of my favorite events of the year, obviously, but I don't know how much that had to do with the conference itself. It was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. For those of you who are on the east side of the country and know when Gatlinburg is, it's a strange place for strange people. You occasionally just see a black bear on the streets of that little town in a nook or cranny.
Pretty cool destination. Cozy destination.
Yeah. Super cozy. I think the biggest caveat of that whole experience, though, is just, I will say that I think it frequently was more about the fun that I looked forward to. And it quickly got distracted from the real reason we were there every time, which was Jesus, obviously. And, we could ascribe it to good fellowship and all that, because, you can do whatever you want and say, oh, it was good fellowship, and it's fine. But I definitely think we got distracted a lot of the time. And it was a lot of money, and I feel bad that we often got so distracted. We had so much fun, though. It was great.
Did it change any of the students' lives?
No baptisms, honestly. We all got baptized at camp. And like, if you're not getting baptized, like, what's it like? It's all about conversion numbers. So,
You got any rededications at least?
mm,
There's always got to be one rededication, right?
not a hard rededication. Like, I'm sure all of us got fired up
Dang.
for the Lord after that, like a soft rededication. But maybe that just means none of us strayed far enough to be like, yo, I really, really need to rededicate. All of us were on track for the most part. You know what happens in high school, the small slip-offs. But other than that,
You're telling me no one wanted to go up in the Smoky Mountains and go to the creek and get baptized?
have you done that?
No, but sounds cool.
I mean, it sounds cool. It is winter, though, to be fair.
Who cares? We have a friend who got baptized in, 30-degree water? Or even 20?
30-degree water, that's ice.
The end of December. It was awesome. It was emotional.
Sounds like it.
Anyway, so the topic this year at TCTC, if you haven't understood yet, this video is mainly about TCTC, just talking about Christian conferences in general. The main message was truth, and what is truth, and how do we find out what it truly is? Big verse, 1 Peter 3:15 for this. Always be prepared to give a reason for the things you believe. That was a paraphrase. I don't have the whole verse memorized. But basically, always just have a reason to defend your faith. That was the big goal that the speaker had. The speaker was Tim Barnett. Was that his name? Big science guy, kind of similar to Cliff, a little similar to Cliff, except he doesn't really debate. He's mainly just a teacher. He's a bald guy from Canada.
Does he know Wes Huff? Wes Huff is Canadian as well.
He does.
He is friends with Wes Huff. He's friends with him.
He mentioned the Joe Rogan Wes Huff podcast.
Oh, really?
He was like, "Yeah, you guys see my boy Wes on Joe Rogan? That was awesome."
Really? I just watched that. That was sick.
Yeah, I need to watch that whole thing.
That's pretty cool. That's a whole separate conversation, though.
Anyway, what were the 4 topics, Kyle? Do you remember them? I can pull up my notes if you don't remember them, but
I don't know if I remember them all. I might have them. I don't have my actual physical notebook.
I had them on my phone. You guys talk about something else real quick while I find them.
The Super Bowl's this weekend. Who y'all rooting for?
I do, dude. Neither. Dislike Philadelphia. Dislike the Chiefs.
Go Eagles.
Dislike Philadelphia, hate the Chiefs. So fly, Eagles, fly, baby.
I would love to see Saquon Barkley win a chip, though.
Go Philly. Go Philly. Love Saquon Barkley.
His calves are the size of my head.
I honestly hate
Yeah.
Philly fans so much. I might be for the Chiefs.
You're hating Ryan?
What? I have never heard you say that sentence in my life. You mean 76er fans? Is that what your statement?
No, Philly fans in general. The whole city. Not the whole city, just the ones that are fans of their sports teams. They're awful.
Speaking of Philly,
But Philadelphia was a good church in Revelation.
That is true.
good cheesesteaks.
Anyway, TCTC notes. The first session, there were 4 sessions. The first one was the case for truth. So this just kind of went over how we get truth in general. What is truth? What does that mean? And it's talking about subjective opinions and then objective facts. Kyle, do you want to go into the analogy he used? It was a good one.
Might not get the analogy that good, but insulin. So he used the things of insulin and ice cream. And whenever you're talking about a subject that's true, it's not just like an opinionated, you say insulin, because if you're a diabetic and you get diagnosed with it, the doctor's like, you need insulin. And you can't be like, no, I want cupcakes for my medicine. And that's not how that works. You need insulin to survive. And the other one is ice cream. Ice cream is subjective, or is that objective?
That one's subjective.
Yeah, that's right. Subjective, which like many people vary on what kind of ice cream they like cookies and cream, vanilla, chocolate. It's all opinionated. It's not like there's one certain best one, even though we all know it's vanilla. But but when someone's saying something like 2 + 2 is 4, that's insulin.
Right.
But if someone goes like, the best sportswear is Under Armour or Nike. That's an ice cream. That's an opinion.
Yeah, he very well dumbed it down for us, but I liked it.
Who'd you guys vote for this year, last year? That's an ice cream. You have to vote Republican. That's insulin.
Okay, well, this leads us into there are still false insulins. There are false objective truths. Or false, it wouldn't be a truth. Anyway, so if I say 2 + 2 is 5, that is still me making an objective insulin claim, but it's false. So it's not an opinion.
What's the point?
What do you mean?
Where are you taking this?
Well, that's just proving that there has to be truth in the world. There has to be one truth.
I would agree. I don't get this whole postmodern thing of, oh, there's a million truths and we all have them in our own little bodies. And your truth is your truth, but my truth still exists. No, that's stupid. That's not how truth
Right.
works.
There can't be multiple truths when it comes to religion. That is the point, kind of.
When they're all saying different things, that is certainly true.
One truth.
Session 2 was then about the case for God. So basically just went on into all the nerdy scientific stuff. That is actually really cool. That was probably the most interesting lesson of this is 10 to the whateverth power for it to be possible, like where we're at in the solar system, our gravitational pull, for human life to form anyway, or any life.
The fine-tuning argument, I believe, is what that's called.
Sorry, I'm pulling up the odds right now. Give me a second.
If Earth wasn't tilted, poles would be freezing cold and everything else would be extremely hot. Do you know that?
Odds are very.
I have to be completely honest. As soon as you said Tilted, I realized that I do not have Fortnite downloaded, and Tilted Towers is officially back. So
It is back. That's a stumbling block.
it's a stumbling block. I'm not going to re-download Fortnite.
When I think of things as such, I think of our white blood cells. Those things do a bunch for your body. And like I've seen one attacking a cancer cell, or well, a lot of them attacking a cancer cell. It's insane, bro. They gang up on that thing. And it's like it's crazy to think about that there's a cell that has like its own brain basically. That's insane.
I have the odds.
Kyle? What are the odds?
There is no precise answer, but a rough estimate from something I don't know, say astrophysics suggests the odds of randomly formed planet developing intelligent life are around 1 in 10 sextillion.
Sex.
You're not married yet, Ryan. We just talked about engagement. You're not married.
How much zeros is sextillion?
How many zeros, you idiot?
22.
Who came up with the word sextrillion?
Tillion.
Sextillion. Tillion. Get y'all's heads out of the gutters, dude.
Okay, yeah, how many zeros is that, though? Do you know?
No, I am curious.
It's 10 to the 22nd power. So 23 zeros in total?
But as a secularist, Kyle, I'm a little atheist. Surely there's like way more planets than that number. So how many planets are there actually that have intelligent life?
That's actually a struggle I had. Like, when you start bringing in... So I completely believe in Jesus. My full faith is in him. But when you start bringing in all these numbers, it's like, if the universe is infinite, then there's infinite possibility that this would happen. But then I was talking with my friend about it, and he was like, well, the universe isn't actually infinite. It's expanding, but it's not infinite. And he's my Asian friend, so he's really smart. And he was telling me all this.
Okay, that is racist, but true.
What do you mean? No, he is actually very smart.
He's smart.
And yeah, I couldn't follow. That's a struggle I've had, but all glory to God.
Bro, if the universe is expanding, where's it expanding into? Because if this is the universe and it's expanding outwards, where is it going?
Bro, when when the
into nothingness.
when the multiverse came out in Marvel, I actually had like
No, I'm cutting you off.
You guys know, like, was it Men in Black where she was like the alien holding like marbles of like worlds or something like that?
I haven't seen
that's
Men
getting
in
cut.
Black since 2009.
29.
Can we talk about Christian conferences?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Where we at?
The Case of God.
Oh.
I forgot.
Well, we were at the case for God. Okay, we can move on. I just want to say how cool it is that the gas giants Saturn and Jupiter act as vacuums for asteroids. That if we didn't have those, we would die to asteroids. Anyway, we can move on. The session number 3 was the case for Jesus Cristo.
What's the case for Jesus Cristo?
I got this one.
I'm glad you asked. Kyle, take it away.
They asked multiple questions, and one of them was, what if they discovered Jesus' bones? And there's no reason to believe that Jesus was the Son of God or our faith is futile and we are still in our sins. Some other questions were that the statements that the tomb contained no body. Other questions were, did people really see and touch someone that was Jesus? And another question was Jesus really dead? And we talked about some of the eyewitness statements and how credible they actually were. And some of the stuff used in the Bible, like when Jesus was the first people to see Jesus resurrected were women. And back then, in those days, you didn't use women to tell the truth. You didn't use them to sell your case. And back to that, when it talks about how some people ask, did Jesus really die or did somehow he lived? Now let's get this clear. The Romans knew how to kill someone, dude. They knew what they were doing.
Well, Kyle, like, you're saying all this stuff, but all I have to say in response is the Gospels aren't reliable, so like it doesn't matter.
This isn't even from the conference. This is something I read this morning. No, it was yesterday. That we always hear that, oh, the Gospels might or might not be reliable, but there's other what's the word? Sources. And as I was studying 2 Timothy, Tacitus is a Roman historian, and he's non-Christian Roman historian, and he wrote down he was writing about the fires in Rome, the 6-day fire in Rome that Nero blamed the Christians for. And he admitted in that, like he wrote all that down as factual, and he also mentioned how they were followers of Jesus who had been crucified in Rome. So he was a real man. He definitely died. He was definitely crucified. We know that. So, what do you have to say about the Gospels now, buddy?
I don't know. I'm totally just playing devil's advocate.
Don't ask about proof. It's all about evidence.
Brother, is this a teen convention podcast or is this just a Cliff walkthrough?
This is awesome. This is awesome talk right now. We're talking theology, man.
No, this is good, but I'm just starting to question.
We will get back to everything else we talked about. And then the last session was about the case for others, and basically he went mostly on how the disciples were all martyred for their faith, and they could have just simply said, no, we don't believe in Jesus, and they would have been fine. But, okay, we'll move on from this because that was a lot of theological talk. If you guys want to hear about conventions, because that's what you probably clicked on this video for. Kyle, what else happened at TCTC?
Josiah Queen was there, which is pretty cool, and he almost didn't make it, I'll tell you that much, because there was quite a bit of snow where we were.
Right. Their plane was late.
And he's from Florida. And they landed late, and they got there and did a 360 in their car multiple times on the way to there. So they didn't get to really rehearse.
Yeah, they didn't rehearse at all, but God still got him there, and it was awesome to see him perform. Come on the podcast, by the way, Josiah Queen.
Yes, please.
Answer our DM.
Talk about Shama a
Please.
little bit, the comedian they had. You guys know Shama?
I don't know, Shama. Let me look this guy up.
Yeah, I know Shama. He's an Instagram comedian.
Yeah, Peyton, you'd know him. But Yeah, some of his jokes missed a lot. I think he had a very tough crowd. They were edgier jokes, and it was a bunch of. It was a very white teenage convention, so it was a rough crowd for him. But I thought he was pretty funny, and he ended up making a joke about he hates when people text him, and he would much rather you call him or FaceTime him or even show up to his house. So after that session ended, our good friend Billy doxed him. He ended up finding his number and FaceTiming him. And he the first time he didn't answer, Billy FaceTimed him again, and he picked up. So he was pretty stressed after that, to say the least. That he told us to do that.
What, Shama told you to do that?
He said, he openly invited, said, don't write, like, dude, call me.
We called him, and the whole church van went crazy when he answered. But it was funny. And then Shama, also come on the podcast. We'd love to have you, man. We'll laugh at your jokes, unlike the TCTC crowd.
Yes, that would also be fun.
You want to talk about pick up and preach? Maybe we can give an example of that.
We will, if they're funny.
Yeah, I'm sure we all know what that is. In the cabin, this was kind of separate. Again, when you go to these conventions, half of the experience of it is just being a church family wherever you're staying at. So we were in a big cabin, and that was half of our experience. We played Pick It Up and Preach. It's a game where you spin around and everyone yells, spin, spin, spin. And they yell, pick it up and preach. You grab the first item that you see and you give a 1-minute sermon on it. So Carter, you want to demonstrate?
Carter wasn't there, so he can try.
Wait, you said the first thing I grab?
Hey, quit looking around.
Oh.
No, you stand up and spin.
Spin.
And then you grab the first item. Spin. Pick it up and preach. Make sure you're talking the mic.
The sermon I have today is...
Hey, too much thinking time. Come on.
Oh, okay. So, when Jesus died, he gave us a couple commandments, and some churches do this, some churches don't. Well, they do it monthly, some do it every week. Something called communion. And Jesus tells us, well, he says, take the bread,
Come
for
on.
I am life, and drink this cup for the blood. Just let me get one. Red Solo cup. Christ's blood.
Praise Jesus.
Yeah, that. Peyton, you look distraught.
I didn't like that.
So in the cabin, it usually went much smoother than that. Peyton, what are you thinking? Peyton, you give it a shot. If you're, I see you judging Carter. You give it a shot.
Spin.
Spin.
Carter, spin. Get in with a spin.
I wrap myself in my headphone cords. Was that the lamp? Jesus said, I am the light of the world.
Oh, preach!
And even in the darkness, we can still see. But if he instills this light in us, am I to cover this up?
I'm about to start speaking tongues.
Would I cover up this light? No!
No!
I would expose this light for the rest of the world, for a light unto my feet and a lamp unto my path.
You butchered that.
I did butcher that.
The message was received.
Can you drink of the cup I drink?
So there was an interesting event that happened at the TCTC conference. It was the night of the No Big Deal concert. No big deal if you don't know him. No big deal. Hey, come on the podcast. You're awesome.
We're just begging people.
You don't think you could sit down with No Big Deal for an hour and talk?
I have to be completely honest. I don't know what I would talk about with any of these people. We keep saying, hey, you make music, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway, No Big Deal if you don't know him. I think he is one of the best Christian rappers. Besides the point, go check him out. So he was performing that night, and it was our section's turn for the front section. So every night you rotated through around the place, and it was our turn for the front section.
Oh, this is classic.
You weren't there, Carter. You weren't there.
I heard about it.
So we got there first. We got to the stadium first, and we took the front row. And then Kyle, can you tell some of this? It's getting a little foggy for me.
I was majority there for somewhat of it. I was close enough. Our church that we went with, some of us got split up because we broke up into classes earlier, and some of the classes went a little over than what they're supposed to. I'm not happy with that, but I still learned a lot. And so our church got up towards the line, majority of them. And so immediately when it goes, he's performing the night, so everyone knows you better get a good seat. So our group is going, they get seats, and our youth minister's daughter was sitting on a couple seats, saving them. And then they were also putting bags into their seats. We had a lot of our group there, but not all of them. And another one of the guys was also there saving seats, putting his stuff down. And apparently a woman who we love, genuinely care for, which is a youth minister's wife, shoved him out of the way, like pushed him, like with her arm, like this, and then proceeded to sit on the daughter who was saving seats.
Ew.
And this woman was like 40 years old. She was sitting on her, which is kind of weird.
Brother, yeah.
And our youth minister, after this all went down, everything's kind of settled down somewhat, went up to her and was like, hey, can you just apologize? He was very civil with her. And she was like, no.
She was not about to apologize. No. And then, so during the church clash, our youth minister was getting very loud and confrontational. Righteous anger came out. And the other churches, the youth pastor, I think it was a dude, and he got in his face, and they started a yelling match. And our youth pastor, we can just say his name. We've already mentioned him several times. His name's Cohen. He was like, all I want is for you guys to apologize to my students that you just cussed at and you pushed and basically physically assaulted. And they weren't having it. So it was very awkward. We ended up sitting second row. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. So we decided to go second row. Just give up the confrontation. Peyton, did you have something to say?
What will the second be? The second shall be what? Because the first shall be last and the last shall be first. Does that mean you shall be second to last because you were second?
No, we'll be first. I guess we weren't last. Yeah, shoot. Then a good friend Billy again, he was like shouting for help because he was in the second row and they were trying to save seats in the second row too. The other church was. And he was already there way before them, and he had two dads on both sides of him. The chairs are side by side. He had two dads on both sides of him, like trying to force him out. And he was like, "Dude, I'm not moving." And then he was like yelling for help. He was like, "Ryan, come help me!" And he had a big smile on his face. He was making fun of the situation. So I thought he was just joking. So I ignored him. But anyway, at the end of the conference, Kyle, what did you have?
Something I had to say. I still love him. But the people who they fought for to sit in the front row during No Big Deal,
Yeah, this
were
was
front center against the fence like this. Yay. They didn't jump. Everyone was jumping. Everyone was singing. They just stood there like this the whole time, did not want to be there.
yeah. When I tell you, like for a white conference, brother, the place was booming, except that very front row of the ladies. Love them to death. At the end of the conference, the end of the night, the youth pastor, ended up coming up to Cohen and apologizing and saying that was out of line, and they hugged it out and told each other they loved each other, and it was all good. So, guys, forgive.
Hey, us Christians mess up sometimes, man. Need repentance, need forgiveness.
Do you think they learned from that?
I hope so.
Do you think he said anything to the group after that, or do you think he just took the blame?
I think he just took the blame probably because it was an all-girls group, and what I was also thinking, I don't want to spread slander. He came up and apologized on their behalf, which is good. But the mom started the whole thing, and she was still too stubborn to apologize. And those girls all have her as their role models. So that's what scares me a little bit. But
That's a crazy thing to do. Sitting on, and who she
17-year-old
sat on
girl.
isn't big either. That's crazy behavior.
No.
That's battery. That's probably battery.
Was she already like was our whole first row filled up, and she's like, I'm just gonna sit on this girl.
That there was so we still had our group up there, but I mean there were still a few of us missing because we were more middle towards the way because our speaker went over time. Still learning about Jesus was lit, but she was saving multiple seats, and the lady was like, "Dead over there, I'm gonna sit on you."
no, that was wild. But anyway, it all ends
That was
with
crazy.
forgiveness and everything. So no hard feelings, of course.
What's the line between hard feelings and like they need to like really grow up?
Well, they can
Okay.
be the same. Like, I shouldn't hold it personal, but they should also grow up.
That's actually really well put. I was trying to poke the conversation further.
No, you're good. I think, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else on that?
That's just the epitome of the groups that do end up at that conference, which is the problem. It is.
Oh, we got some TCTC slander.
Don't be rude.
That's honestly, that's the truest thing. That's the biggest lesson you can learn from that.
I was more upset
And
about that than
also-
anything.
Yeah, because it's not like, oh, we're just the biggest girls, no big deal fan group ever.
None of them knew who that guy was.
Also, if you go to a concert where it's open free space, don't get front row and then not have fun. Have fun.
Everyone else jumping. Anyway, Peyton, you got a problem with people who go to TCTC?
I don't. I just know that at any conference you go to, that's just the downside of that. There's going to be people there who are just there for fun or just there for not fun because they weren't having fun, which is even weirder.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a status thing or something to do. Oh, it's a vacation. It's not a vacation. It's a retreat. Those are two very different things. You gotta really embrace the wilderness or the stepping aside from normal society as you unplug for like the whole weekend. And I think that's why I was a fan of the camp aspect more, because it was like unplugging for a period of time, and TCTC was more modern, and that works for some people. But I think distractions, especially for high schoolers, were more apparent because of that factor in the conferences. That's just what I had to say.
Right. You go to fill your cup.
Yeah.
You don't go to just have fun. You're going to have fun while you do it, but that's not the main goal.
Mm-hmm.
Also, another lesson with the cup.
Go for it.
Oh, I was referring to your
Pick
fill
it up
the
and
cup.
preach. Take two. Try it again.
I really don't know with this red solo cup. Don't drink.
There you go.
Like Peyton said earlier.
That's all you had to say.
Do not. This is only made for milk, water, and sparkling juice. Not alcohol.
Not alcohol.
Don't drink that dirty soda or pop either. It has a bunch of oils in it.
It's
You can drink alcohol as a Christian.
You can, just don't get drunk.
No drunkenness.
Don't be a fool when you have alcohol.
And wait till you're
You
of
can-
legal age.
That's also true. Debauchery. That's what foolishness is.
Debauchery?
I thought it was debauchery.
Guys, we're going to be talking about some personal experiences and some context maybe for some conventions. I feel like I always go first, so I guess I'll go ahead and go first. I made a little list for me. My first convention that I went to was called CIY Believe. It's targeted towards middle schoolers, which is a good thing because I think you do need to focus more on middle schoolers and not just high schoolers. I went with one of my closest friends at the time. And we're still pretty close, but I wasn't like full blown active in the youth group. I just went because my friend went. I was growing up in the church, but I never really had conversations about God or my own beliefs. I was mainly just there to have fun time with friends. Carter and Ryan were also there. That's probably the first time I really hung out with them somewhat.
Yeah, we didn't really like
fun.
you.
No.
I know I wasn't friends with you guys until freshman year, and I was like 6th grade at that time.
Yeah, that was a good trip.
Dang.
Kyle? Never mind.
That week I had some really good conversations. We had a speaker, and I genuinely, this was years ago. Don't remember what it talked about. I really got conversations with some other kids about Jesus, which I never really had done before. I talked to the youth minister at the time. His name is Gabagoo. Just went to visit him in California.
Gabagoo, gabagoo.
And something sparked definitely inside, made me keep going to youth group and church, but it didn't really make me fully commit. But it kept me going to the church a few years later, which was a good thing because I did fully commit to God. And even though I struggle sometimes, I genuinely know where I'm going and know that I will follow Jesus. And I mean it. I'm not just saying that for views, likes, or to glorify myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't know if I would have continued with church if I didn't go that weekend because I did make some really good friends and some really good fond memories. I don't know because before that I was like, youth group's fun, but then I went and had really fun. I had a really good time, and it definitely sparked something inside.
Yeah, conferences get your foot in the door for sure.
Definitely some older chaperones there, which was also nice because they were there to help mentor me. But then after that, I never went back to conferences. We had some retreats I went to, but our church never really went to conferences after that. But my first convention after about 7 years was TCTC, which we just went to, which was really cool. I really do hope that in my walk in faith, I got to be a leader in that youth group to some other kids who might have possibly been in the situation I was at during CIY. Hopefully, I could help kids who not even just doubted their faith, but maybe aren't far along in their faith as me. But I really hope that I was able to help someone there. And I really like to see everyone's faith. Everyone there was fully committed and really wanted to gain knowledge about God and draw closer to others there. The conference itself was good. Normally, personally, for me, I've never been to TCTC again other than this year. So when I was thinking about it, I didn't really expect to go that deep with messages. I kind of thought I was more catered to having fun with a little bit of Jesus and break stuff down a little bit. But we genuinely did break stuff down quite a bit, and I really enjoyed that. And it was catered towards more teens, which it's supposed to be, but it was really fun. But yeah, we broke down the case for Jesus, the evidence which points to him, which is really cool. And I definitely gained something out of that week, and hopefully I was able to help someone else.
From student to mentor, you ended up getting to level up and help out the younger kids, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know me, you, Ryan, are leading that youth group right now. I mean, you're the intern, but I know we're student leaders, which is it's pretty cool to help kids who are maybe in that same situation I was in a couple years ago.
Right, and if we'd never gone to that CAY trip, who knows if we'd be where we're at.
It's also pretty cool. We got to practice in a gym that the Utah Jazz practice in before.
Dang it, Kyle. I was going to say that. I was going to be proud of that
You
moment.
can still be proud of it, bro. You were there. You balled up.
That's a segue. Carter, you were going to talk about it. Now you go. That's a good segue. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, before the trip, Gob was like, did you know the Utah Jazz practice in this gym? And I was like, holy crap, we're going to practice in the same gym as the Utah Jazz. I don't know why. I don't know why they could have just practiced in the Pacers facility, but whatever. For CIY, that's 7 years ago. Is that correct?
It's about
Oh my
7 years
Yeah,
ago.
8.
8, whatever.
I think it was 8.
Oh my gosh. I'm unk. Anyways, I was brand new to the youth group. I knew Ryan from just childhood best friend and school and a couple others, not too many people. But I kind of went just because everyone else went and my friends went. I was there to look good in front of the middle school girls.
There you go.
I remember this game. This game we played was it? Okay, the girls wanted to play tackle football, and they said we can tackle them, and we did, and then they got a little mad. So that was that. Yeah. But again, I don't know what they talked about. It was a long time ago, like Kyle said. But again, like also with Ryan saying, I think I don't know where I would be at if I didn't go to that um, conference, and I think that conference grew me and Gabe's relationship a lot because I was brand new and he was also brand new at the time. and I think that grew us together. But it also grew again with the girls and the other guys and the adults there. So I think that was a good first start to becoming known at the youth group and stuff like that. At TCTC, I've been to it once. That was literally the last conference in 2020, or last like church thing we did because of COVID hit like 2 months later. Um, but Peyton was there with us. That was your
Mm-hmm.
last one, right?
Yes, my senior year.
So, um, one thing I took from that TCTC is again growing is so huge in these conferences, and um, I kind of like to think like the the disciples, the amount of like growth they had with each other, I'm sure was so great, and all these people were only together for 3 years, 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Um, it might have been more after post Jesus came back. Some obviously went to do their own thing, but anyways, growth is very important, and I think with Peyton's group, he had like the senior group. I got close with um, many of them, and I also again got close with Gabe and my age group, and then TCTC. I love they had the skit guys were there. That was fun. I like the skit guys. They're a comedy group.
Skit guys, come on the
Um,
podcast. We'd love to have
yes,
you.
please come on the
Gosh
podcast.
dang it.
um, and then Peyton actually almost performed at TCTC that year, but did you not make the cut or did you just back out? I thought
Got
you made the
second.
cut.
They didn't ask me.
Boo.
I got second.
Boo.
Got second and an award. The first place was
Piano girl,
a
right?
fancy piano
Yeah,
rendition of "Reckless
boo.
Love."
Bro,
I'm
I
not-
just realized. So we went this year. I know you got second your year. So they had the first place winner this year. Did a piano thing, of course. They let first and second go.
Ooh.
The second place person was also just a piano girl, which they were phenomenal. Seeing my brother rap at TCTC would have been so cool.
I would have had a panic attack, dude. I don't know if you would have taken me home if I had to perform in front of that many people.
I am putting this in the description of your song. It's going in the description.
I
Please.
was a Christian rapper in high school.
You
It's
made
true.
one solid banger.
P-dub.
P-Dog.
One solid banger, one solid not banger. Visionary. You know, people come up to me and actually say Visionary is better.
That is such a bad take. It's not even funny.
Probably because it's more nostalgic.
That's the nostalgia talking, bro.
Yeah, that's like Indiana fans saying IU is better.
Ha ha ha.
Good jab.
I'm gonna ignore that.
You should.
Is he wrong? No. So during this trip, I can't really remember. We were in a cabin, correct?
Yeah,
What were I can't. Ugh.
it was a cabin.
Anyways, there was, like Ryan said, there's different days. There are 3 days, 2 days, and they have different. Uh, I'm blanking. Different sermons, and they have like different stuff every day. And they also had Trip Lee. He was the rapper for our convention, and he was very good. But anyways, the last day, they have the sermon, and I was in a time where I was kind of like in a I knew Jesus, I like Jesus, I like the fact of like I like this Jesus stuff. I went to church, but there was a moment during that last sermon that like sparked some stuff. Like Kyle said, it does spark some things in you when you're young. And I remember what he said, and I just put it in my mind, or put it in my mind at that time, and I kind of just thought about it, and I don't know why. I just kind of fell and on my knees, and just I kind of lost it for a second, and then Ryan was there for me. I think he'll mention this too. And for a good solid, probably half of that sermon, and then part of the worship after, I was like just down. Like I wasn't standing. I was either sitting or like kneeling. It was a really cool moment to take with me back home. Um, so yeah, overall TCTC in my opinion, and then if you can go to a conference, I understand it sounds fun. All your friends are there, but you can do some serious growth at these conferences, and it's very beneficial for you. Um,
Testify, brother.
I think I definitely want to go to more if I have a chance, and will. And like Kyle said too, it's his time to teach them. I mean, he can also learn from it, but it's his time to teach too. And in my opinion, that's since I haven't been to a lot, but it's time for me to help the kids that I see doing the same thing I was, on the ground, kneeling or sad or crying or something. So it's time for me to be in that position to help. So that's my take.
I bet you I've been to the most conferences in this call.
I bet you're right. Congrats, dude. It's all about numbers for you freaking non-denominationals.
9. Been to 9.
You've been to 9?
I started in 4th grade, bro.
Oh, I
went
forgot
to
about
CIY Superstart.
Superstart. Yeah, I went to that too. I completely forgot. I didn't even
Amen.
include this.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh my gosh.
Did you go to Superstart?
No.
Oh. Me
You're
and
a
Ryan are
jerk.
cooler than you.
We're more Christian than you, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, you have to go to CIY Superstart to be a Christian.
Yeah. It's for 4th and 5th graders. Maybe
Too
6th
bad.
graders.
Too bad CIY ain't a thing anymore.
Christ and Youth.
It's actually not a thing anymore. Yes, I don't think it's a thing anymore. I don't think they have conferences anymore.
Can somebody fact check that?
Could be wrong.
I got you.
I thought Gabe told me that.
Their website's still up.
Oh.
Ooh.
Nope. did not
We'll be
lie.
hosting Believe events in the winter spring of 2022. So I don't think it is. Their website says, yeah.
Yeah.
I can check their Instagram. You guys just talk and I'll check.
Yeah, I started in 4th grade. And for me, too, it was what really got me plugged into not even the youth group because I wasn't old enough for the youth group yet. But from there on, I was the first to sign up for CIY Superstart in 5th grade. I thought it was a blast. We went to Chuck E. Cheese. Only time I've ever stepped foot in a Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm not upset about that.
What?
What?
Chuck E. Cheese is amazing.
They're better.
I've actually.
We had Mr. Gaddy's growing up. It was way better. I know
Okay,
you're...
that's valid. That's
Way
valid.
better.
Kyle, do you even remember Mr. Gaddy's?
I loved the crotch rocket game. You and their cinnamon pizza. Mwah,
Oh man.
mwah. Don't act like I don't know Mr. Gaddy's.
What
I know
grade
Mr.
were
Gaddy's.
you in when that closed?
Kyle, you're a little baby, all right?
You were in 4th grade.
You are 1 year older than me.
Was it like 2015, 2016 when it closed, or even maybe?
For those of you at home, Mr. Gaddy's was a pizza arcade buffet in our hometown, and it closed tragically. And we're all still upset about it.
Okay, CIY Superstart looks like it's still a thing, but I don't know about regular CIY.
CIY is an organization. It's not just
Yeah.
CIY Believe. They do a...
Anyway, Peyton.
Yeah, I went to that. Then I went to Believe in middle school, and it kind of guided me through. I was a punk in middle school, though. May I just say, I was trying to get girls' phone numbers. That's when I was still tall for my age, because I was this height back then.
Peyton,
What?
you actually had something stick with me all these years, and I didn't remember. Like, I knew, but I never, like, click about it until, like, a couple weeks ago.
What?
Your senior year, it was senior Sunday for a youth group, and you gave a lesson on your past experiences with dealing with cussing and stuff and hanging out with the wrong crowd. And that stuck with me so deep because I was hanging out with bad crowds at that time.
Really?
And that was the year after I started hanging out with good people. That was when I met Ryan, was the next year.
I am not a good person. Don't you dare call me that ever again. Only God is good.
You were a better person than the people I was hanging out with.
Okay.
But that like just clicked in my head. I remember you specifically talking about that. We were outside, I think outside around the campfire.
That's gonna go to my head, Kyle. I don't think you understand. Like that's gonna go to my head.
Oh, okay.
Would you have believed at that moment that you would one day be an usher in that guy's wedding?
Oh my gosh. I didn't even think we'd be friends, bro. I like the only time I talked to you is I went up and flexed like, yeah, about your song on Apple Music with like a gift card I got from like a year ago.
And I said, okay, Lance.
Oh my gosh, these memories are crazy.
Brother, I did book. I did the book and scoreboard at your basketball games, and I was like, yo, Lance is going in. Said to my friends who was did it with me, Lance is going in. He's about to drain a 3 randomly. And you always did.
Mr. Barrick, I remember, okay, we'll talk about this after off the podcast.
You got Mr. Bear.
Fakest Mr. Bearcat award I've ever seen.
You
Oh
cannot.
my-
That's actually so disrespectful, Ryan. You cannot
Fakest
say that.
award. Worth nothing.
Mr. Bearcat was an award that the best player won, except the year that Kyle won it.
Wait, did you get the B team one?
No?
They didn't have B team. I played B and A team 6th grade. 7th grade was A, just A.
Dang.
Other than that, I think the biggest message for my years as a conference goer was 100% what got me plugged into the youth group as a young, frail 4th grader, and then guided me through. But my motivations were compromised multiple years of those conventions. Definitely was going for fun. Definitely was going for women one year. That was weird.
I remember that. Or was that a different one?
You remember that.
Now you're engaged, baby.
I think we're talking about a different one, but maybe both of them are good examples. I know my last TCTC, I was way focused on the wrong things, and honestly, regret that a lot because it should have been a lot more fun. But I was just distracted. I was going through some stuff.
Yep. At least you were there.
I wasn't.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, well, another good segue, because I was going to talk about how I don't know if you or any of that senior group knows it or not. But to me, you made a huge impact on me that entire year, really. Me and Carter were freshmen.
That's going to go to my head, Ryan. I don't think you understand.
Shoot.
Me too.
My head is going to be huge after that.
Well, anyway. So that TCTC trip, I don't think you guys tried. I don't know if I talked to you guys much at all, but I could just see by your companionship and fellowship that you have made, your little group, that and it inspired me to find godly friends as well and to seek that out. So, and then going this year, I got to look back on that and be like, hey, I was these freshmen 4 years ago, because we have a really good group, a good younger core at our church now,
I love them.
and they all care way more than we did back then too. So it's something special. But so we got to go into it with the thought of, oh, I am going to try to disciple these guys and try to be a good influence. But and with that, I was a little worried for the lessons that they were going to be dumbed down, a little childish. For teenagers, the 16-year-olds that were going, but they weren't at all. I was pleasantly surprised. Anyone could have taken something out of those lessons at TCTC this year. So overall, my experiences at Christian conferences has been very positive, very, very positive. If you ever have the chance to go, absolutely do it. Youth pastors, encourage your kids to go. And if you don't, I know there's a lot of money issues with that stuff. Bring them somewhere cheap. It doesn't have to be a conference, if anything. The fellowship is just as important as the learning.
Yeah, I have the prices of the conference in my notes. I didn't hit them because I had already kind of dogged on them.
Nah, hit them.
But it was a huge controversy my senior year, which our old youth minister really started to like question whether TCTC was worth it because certain students got priced out. And that sucks.
Yeah.
You never want that.
What's that mean? Like if someone was willing to pay more?
No, like not only was cost capped the number of students we could bring, and also certain students couldn't afford to go because it's like $150 for a student, at least back then. Passion is $200 just for the ticket.
Yeah, then you got to factor in food and housing.
Food, transportation. It's in Atlanta.
Wow.
So
Atlanta, oh my.
Got to pay for those fog machines, though.
Yeah, dude, and that's where the money's going. So TCTC is cheaper. It's also shorter, I think, maybe. A little more remote as well. It's a factor. I think youth ministers could easily come up with fun alternatives as well. You guys experienced a different retreat that the church did a couple years instead of going to TCTC.
Right. We went to Cincinnati once, and then we just went to Gatlinburg, like a separate weekend from TCTC, and just stayed in the cabin. There are alternatives for sure.
Yeah.
And those were just as good.
The Cincinnati week, we all got COVID, and I got a week off of school because I brought COVID on the trip. And when I got back, I didn't have COVID.
Add a kid.
I had COVID going into that,
Bro,
and whenever they're like, make sure no one's sick, I was like this. Because I really wanted to go. I didn't want to miss out. Terrible move, by the way.
dude, you made me feel so awful. I was in.
Yeah, but we got a whole week off school, and we got to play Fortnite and Minecraft.
No, I understand that, but literally on that Saturday night before we had our like little lesson, I went to bed and woke up with the worst body aches known to man. It was awful. I got through it.
I
but-
thought COVID wasn't real.
This guy definitely voted red. I'll tell you that much.
And that's insulin.
like Ryan said, you don't even have to go to these conferences to build relationships and growth. We had our own. My senior was that our senior year? Yeah, senior year. With our group, our church, and I learned a lot, and it was just fun not to have like a schedule, and just do our own thing. So
All right,
Yep.
guys, this has been the Church Trolls podcast. I hope you took something from this, even though it was a bunch of just personal stories shared. I hope you can apply it to your life in some way. Kyle, would you like to pray us out today?
Yes, sir. Bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father God, I thank you for this day, Lord, and I thank you for the audience watching. I thank you for all these boys who are able to come and talk about the conferences, whether the good or funny or goofy moments we had. But that conferences, if you really put them in the right perspective and the right means, God, that they can really glorify you and start a spark in people's lives. God, I ask that everyone here has an open mind with them and that they can just ask for your discernment, God, and that they come closer to you. Thank you again for everyone watching, and thank you for all these boys. And Jesus, it's in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.